This is modern Italy. For many years, Italy has been the third largest economy in Europe and the second largest in terms of international exports. It was from here that the Roman Empire once began its journey. Da Vinci and Michelangelo were born here, and famous clothing brands, technologies, art, and sports were invented here. But why is the economy of modern Italy stagnating now? Why are almost all economic problems in Italy, and why have the country's once leading industries been pushed out around the world? Today, in 10 minutes, I will tell you how Italy became rich, what makes this country special, what the Italian economy depends on, and what problems it is facing now. Hello! This is the backside of Italy, which is not described in any travel guide. Let's go! What is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word Italy? Fashion, expensive cars, delicious pasta, and sophisticated music. Many of you have probably dreamed of visiting Italy, in a romantic country where many things originate. Today, Italy, together with Germany and France, accounts for about half of the economy of the entire European Union. Italy has an ideal geographical location. It is protected by mountains from potential invasion from the north, and its shores are washed by the Mediterranean Sea, where it is always possible to trade in any direction. Thanks to this and other factors, Italy's economy developed quite rapidly. But in 2008, it reached its peak and has been standing still ever since, having lost about 20% of its GDP. So how did Italy get rich, and what happened in 2008? Let's turn our guide back a few pages. After World War II, Italy was one of the largest recipients of foreign money under the Marshall Plan. Under it, about $1.2 billion in American loans came to Italy. One of the main reasons for such inflows was to rid Italy of the influence of the Soviet Union. From 1948 to 1974, Italy's economy grew by an average of 6% per year. Due to rapid investment in industry, the labor force began to move from rural areas to cities. It was during this period that the Fiat concern appeared in Italy. In the 60s and 70s, it became one of the largest car manufacturing concerns in Europe. It was also at this time that Ferrari, Alfa Romeo, Lamborghini, and the iconic Vespa scooter were introduced. Indesit enters the global market and begins to manufacture large-scale household appliances. In other areas, Italian products also receive a quality mark and global recognition. Italian pasta, Italian tires, and Italian typewriters appear on the market. In the 80s, Italy rebuilt its economy to make it export-oriented. In just 7 years, from 1985 to 1992, Italy tripled its economy thanks to exports. People around the world are willing to pay a lot of money for goods made in Italy because they have a reputation for excellent quality. And of course, I should say a few words about Italian fashion. In 1952, Gucci first opened a store in Manhattan and was the first to enter the American market. He was followed by Valentino, Prada, Versace, Dolce & Gabbana, Armani, and Moschino. The inscription, "Made in Italy," gives the product a special value. Or here is another example of the rapid development of the Italian economy. The Parmalat Company. It will be the first in the world to come up with a technology for pasteurizing milk, and it will be stored not for 2 to 3 days, but for about 1 to 2 months. They will replace glass bottles with convenient brick-shaped cartons that can now be found in any supermarket. In the early 90s, they owned 148 factories around the world and were the title sponsor of football clubs. However, in 2003, the company went bankrupt with a debt of 14 billion euros. But the rapid economic growth hid a problem. The problem was tax evasion. It became a national sport to exploit the weak control of the government to pay as little tax as possible. Because of this, the government had to take on debt one after another, and in the 90s, the Italian economy entered stagnation. It started growing again in 2002 when Italy adopted the euro as its national currency. It became easier to attract foreign investment, foreign workers, and foreign buyers. The new currency also influenced the development of tourism. But the financial crisis of 2008 knocked Italy down, and it still cannot recover. The country has been experiencing stagnation for 16 years, but is economic growth possible again? As already mentioned, exports are the backbone of the Italian economy. Today, these are mechanical devices, cars, electronics, and pharmaceuticals. But gradually, Italian goods are beginning to lose out in competition. It is also worth mentioning the large foreign debt. Italy is now in the top 5 major global debtors, accounting for 144% of GDP. In addition, a fairly large number of problems in the domestic market are slowing down the economy. So what are the problems that prevent Italy from developing normally? Let's move on to the next section. To understand what is happening in Italy itself, we need to understand how it is organized. Today, this country is the 3rd largest in Europe. It consists of 20 completely different regions. Italy is further divided into 107 provinces, which include almost 8,000 communes. The largest commune, Lazio, is home to almost 3 million people, and the smallest, Martone, has only 32 people. Each of these communes has its own police force, security measures, and communes independently manage their communal property. Economically, these regions are also very different. Just compare the GDP per capita of Lombardy with the capital of Milan and Sicily. The north of Italy is very different from the south. Due to this division, Italy has 4 levels of government: national, regional, provincial, and municipal. And as you can imagine, this division leads to a very gigantic bureaucracy. First, you need to get permission at the national level, then at the regional level, then at the provincial level, and finally at the municipal level. As they say in Italy, every village is a republic. To illustrate how this happens, let's look at the following example. In 1989, one of the largest oil fields, Tempo Rosso, was discovered in Italy. However, production will be allowed only in 2013, and the first oil will be produced in 2016. Just think about it. For 26 years, the company collected about 400 official permits. Or here's another example. The British company, British Gas, abandoned a major project in which they had already invested 250 million euros because of a huge number of bureaucratic problems at various levels over 11 years. Bureaucratic problems have a significant impact on the entry of foreign investment into the market. In such indicators as how easy it is to take out a loan, how to pay taxes, how contracts are enforced, or how easy it is to get a building permit, Italy is somewhere around the 100th place among all countries in the world. The administrative division of Italy leads not only to major bureaucratic problems, but also to the fragmentation of society. Italians in different regions are quite different, which hinders the common cause. And I'm not making this up. Even the Italian anthem contains the words, "We are not one people, we are divided." The hour has come to unite. But let's move on to other problems that slow down the Italian economy. How many of the world's 100 oldest companies do you think are Italian? 5, 10, 15, 40? The correct answer is 15. For example, the Florentine jewelry company Torini started its business in 1369. Antinori has been selling fine Italian wine since 1385 and still sells it today. Its president, Alessia Antinori, is a 26th generation member of the oldest family. Family business is a feature of the Italian economy. The most famous Italian clothing brands, Benetton, Gucci, Versace, Prada, Furlo, Armani, Dolce & Gabbana are family businesses. The famous Fiat company is owned by the Agnelli family. The richest man in Italy, Giovanni Ferrero, inherited his business from his father, Michele Ferrero. And his father, Michele Ferrero, once patented the world-famous Nutella. 85% of all Italian businesses are family-owned. So what do you think? What's wrong with that? The continuity of generations. The fact is that such companies continue the old-school way of doing business. Increasing production would help the Italian economy, but they don't like the automation of the process. which allows them to increase the number of products they produce. Small businesses in Italy lag behind the rest of Europe in terms of technology adoption. Family businesses invest little in research and development. For example, look at the innovations of these three countries. As you can see, Italy lags far behind in this regard. So far, Italy has managed to win the competition where quality is higher than the speed and quantity. But the economies of Britain, France, and Germany are already achieving the same quality without losing quantity. That is why most of the companies that will be born during the Italian economic miracle are not in the lead today. And while we're on the subject of family businesses, we shouldn't forget to mention another major problem in Italy: the mafia. There are currently 4 major clans: the Camorra, the Cosa Nostra, the 'Ndrangheta, and the smallest, Sacra Corona Unita. All of them are from the poor regions of the Italian south. They are mainly involved in drug trafficking, arms, business protection, and prostitution. The mafia at various levels essentially replaces the state and resolves conflicts. Its influence also contributes to the growth of corruption in the country, which significantly slows down the economy. Before we move on to the next section, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss interesting videos about other countries. In recent years, the problem I'm about to discuss has been getting worse. Italy has one of the oldest populations in the world, and a large part of the working population is approaching retirement. This would not be a problem if it were not for the low birth rate. In addition, Italy has one of the highest rates of out-migration of young people. Today, the average salary in Italy is $1,820, but many Italians do not have enough money. Therefore, they leave the country. Joining the EU has only exacerbated this problem, because now they can freely move to countries where they can earn more. In total, 6 million Italians live outside their homeland. This figure has almost doubled since 2006. Last year, 132,000 people left Italy. Of course, this is not a complete list of problems that prevent Italy from developing normally. I have already mentioned corruption, and the black market is another one. The black market in Italy is too big for a developed economy. Today, Italy is in kind of a tailspin in its behavior. On the one hand, if Italy raises taxes and cuts spending to reduce its debt burden, it will ruin its small businesses. On the other hand, if it borrows even more, it risks going bankrupt. Italy is one of the strongest countries in Europe today, but will it be able to get out of the hole it has driven itself into and show strong growth rates again? Time will tell. What do you think about this? Write in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you like it, please hit the like button. See you soon.